Good morning, one and all. I am Dr. BVVS Prasad, working as Associate Professor in the Department of CSC in Chebrolu Engineering College, affiliated to JNTU Kakinada. Today I am going to deal with the subject operating systems. It is for the third year BTech CSC students, first semester. Now, objectives of the subject operating systems. Before going to know any subject, first of all we have to know the objectives as well as outcomes. For that purpose, first of all I am saying the objectives. First one, study the basic concepts and functions of operating systems. Second one, understand the structure and functions of operating system. Next, learning about processes, threads and scheduling algorithms. Next, understand the principles of concurrency and deadlocks. Next, learn various memory management schemes and study I/O management and file systems. And finally, learn the basics of Linux system and perform administrative tasks on Linux servers. Next, coming to outcomes, the outcomes of the operating system. First one, design various scheduling algorithms, apply the principles of concurrency, design deadlock prevention and avoidance algorithms, compare and contrast various memory management schemes. Next, design and implement a prototype file systems. Finally, perform administrative tasks on Linux servers. Next, coming to first chapter. This is the agenda of the first chapter, introduction. In this introduction, these are all the topics. First one, what operating systems do, computer system organization, computer system architecture, operating system structure, operating system operations, process management, memory management, storage management, protection management, protection and security, kernel data structures, computing environments, open source operating systems. Before going to know about what operating systems do, first of all we have to know about what is an operating system. The objectives of this chapter are to describe the basic organization of computer system, to provide a grand tour of major components of operating system, to give an overview of many types of computing environments, to explore several open source operating systems. Now first we have to know about what is an operating system. See, a program that acts as an intermediary between a user of a computer and the hardware. A user of a computer and the hardware. And operating system primarily provides services for running applications on a computer. So see, for understanding this, let us take an example. Suppose if we want to play a chess game in the computer or laptop or our Android phones, first of all we must install the chess game in our system. If we want to install any software in laptop or anything, laptop or desktop or our Android mobile phones, we must need an operating system. Without an operating system, we are unable to install softwares. So operating system acts as mediator between or intermediary between a user of a computer like chess player and the computer hardware. If we want to install any software in our laptop, we need a hardware like hard disk or pen drive. So operating system acts as an intermediary between a user of a computer and the computer hardware. Next, what is the need of for an operating system? See, the primary need for the operating system arises from the fact that user needs to provide with services and OS or to facilitate provisioning of these services. That is, the central part of computer system is a process engine called CPU. A system should make it possible for a user's applications to use the processing unit. So, the main goals of the operating system are execute user programs and make solving user problems easier. First one, execute user programs. Suppose if we want to write a code in C language, we must use turbo compiler. By using turbo compiler only, we first compile our programs, then execute our programs. But if we want to install that turbo compiler in our system, we need operating system. So what this operating system will do? This operating system will do execute entire programs of that compiler. That is nothing but, if we want to install any software, what is software? Software is nothing but collection of programs, either collection of similar programs or combining of different programs. So if we want to install any software in operating system, we must execute all the programs, or else we create an executable file, execute only that file only. So here execute user programs and make solving user problems easier, that is the first one. And coming to second one, make the computer system convenient to use. Convenience, most important point. Convenience is a buzzword in real world. If we want to purchase a mobile phone, first of all we look the features, then look and feel, finally user satisfaction must be satisfied. That is the portability of mobile. It will be carried anywhere. The portability, here portability is nothing but convenient. Whatever may be the product we want to purchase, we first of all think about convenience. Without convenience we can't purchase any product. So for same applied here, make the computer system convenient to use. The convenience where the convenience came from? This convenience came from the operating system. Next, last one, use the computer hardware in an efficient manner. Suppose if we want to play a chess game and parallelly we want to listen music, is it possible? Yes, it is possible, because we are using multi-processing systems. For playing chess game and for playing songs. So our hardware must be supported. Where this support came from? This entire support came from the operating system through our process management. It will cover in the next chapters. Okay. Next, computer system structure. Now computer system can be divided into four components. Those the four components are: first one hardware, second one operating system, third one application programs, fourth one users. Before going to this one, first of all, what is an operating system? Operating system acts as intermediary between user of a computer and the hardware. Nothing but it acts as interface between user and hardware. So before going to explain all these things, first of all we have to know what is an interface, or what intermediary action do our operating system. So interface is nothing but the communication between the hardware and the user. If we want to do anything in our laptop, we must need some communication. Thus that communication part will be taken care by operating system. And operating system is a software. And what is a software? Software is a set of tested programs with documentation. Software is a set of tested programs with documentation. There are two types of softwares. First one application software, and second one system software. Application software and second one system software. What is application software? Application software is nothing but what are all the applications we are going to install in our computer is called application softwares. For example, VLC, Microsoft Office, Windows Media Player, like that. These are all application programs. And second type of software is system software. It operates the computer hardware and it provides platform for application software to run. What is system software? System software is nothing but it operates the computer hardware and it provides a platform for application software to run. So our operating system is system software. I already told that operating system is a software. Now I changed my definition to operating system is a system software. What is a system software? System software operates the computer hardware and it provides platform for application software to run. So whenever we want to run our application softwares like VLC or Microsoft Office or Windows Media Player, we need system software, that is operating system. So now come to this. Computer system can be divided into four components. First one hardware. It provides basic computing resources like CPU. CPU is nothing but central processing unit. And next one memory. Memory two types: random access memory, read only memory. Next IO devices: keyboard, mouse, printer, scanner. All these are IO devices which are used to give the input to the system and as well as take an output from the system. Second one, operating system. Operating system, it controls and coordinates use of hardware among various applications and users. It is nothing but operating system acts as mediator between hardware and application programs or users. What are application programs? Application programs define the ways in which the system resources are used to solve the computing problems of the users. For example, word processors, compilers, web browsers, database systems, video games. Word processors. Suppose if we want to prepare a resume to attend a company, we need word processors. Simple example. Or else, operating system is used for developing or coordinating or communication to the users. In that case, I already told software, definition of software. What is software? Software is nothing but set of tested programs with documentation. So every software is having some documentation. What is the purpose of documentation? The purpose of documentation is nothing but how to use this software. Each and every help will be provided there. So every software must need documentation. That documentation will be done using word processors. Next one, compilers. What is a compiler? Compiler is nothing but here, what is the purpose of a compiler? Compiler which compiles every program. Here, compilers, examples of the compilers are C compiler. For the sake of C compiler, example is Turbo compiler, or some people are using Borland compiler. Both are C language compilers. Java compiler, and sometimes instead of using compilers, some programs will be developed in interpreters also, by using interpreters also. Interpreters, line by line execution. What is the difference between compiler and interpreter? If we execute entire code and display errors, then we go for compilers. If we want to execute line by line, then we will go for interpreters. Next, web browsers. What are web browsers available? The web browsers are Google Chrome, Opera, Safari, like that so many web browsers are available. Next, database systems. What is the purpose of database systems? The main purpose of database systems is to store the data and do operations on the data and do analysis. All those things will be done by database systems. Examples for database systems are Oracle, SQL Server, MS Access, MySQL, so on. Next, video games. Nowadays PUBG is so much popular, so many people are playing PUBG. Like that, different video games are available. So here, operating system acts as mediator between application programs and computer hardware. Next, users. What are the users? Users are sometimes people and sometimes machines, sometimes other computers. People. Suppose for the sake of taking the example in playing chess game, in the chess game the players are acts as users, so they are all human beings. Suppose in chess game there is one option like one player game, you are the player and second one is computer. At that time machine is acts as user. We are playing with the machine, so machine is one user and another user is people like you. So here machine acts as user, and other computers, some other computers also take an example. These are all the four components of an operating system, from bottom to top or top to bottom, whatever may be, because here operating system acts as mediator between computer hardware and user or application programs. I am repeating so many times the definition of operating system. Please remember, operating system acts as interface between computer hardware and user of that computer or application programs. So here computer hardware nothing but your RAM, CPU or memory or keyboard, mouse, input output devices, anything comes under computer hardware. After that operating system, after that application programs like compilers, assemblers, text editors, database systems, we already seen in the previous examples. Finally the end users. Next, come to first point, what operating systems do. Depends on the point of view, operating systems performance will be depends on the point of view. Suppose, take an example, we parallelly using one system for playing games and listening music. In some situations, while playing game, so many controls given priority rather than listening music. So sometimes our music will stop and operating system given priority to the game. So depending on the point of view, operating will perform actions. Second one, users want convenience, that is ease of use and good performance. Here let us take an example of your mobile phone. Suppose if we want to call some person, then you simply take your mobile phone and dial that person number or open that contact from the contact list and click on green button, then the call will goes to other person. Internally what is going background, which work is going background? Whenever you dial one number, then the mobile will connect to the nearest tower. After that, which service provider you are going to call, check that person. If the service provider is Airtel, then that the information will be transferred from this tower to nearest Airtel tower, and that communication will be sent to the person's nearest tower. First nearest tower is calling person, next nearest tower is receiving person, then the call transfer to the received person. This thing is this background thing is going to be done, but as a user we don't need all those things. We don't need all those background things. So here the user must wants ease of use and also good performance. If you call to one person, within fraction of seconds the call will be connected. If it takes more than 1 hour or half an hour, then the performance is very low, nobody is going to use the mobile phones. Okay, next, don't care about resource utilizations. Here users don't care about resource utilization. In this example, users don't care about the background process of the phone calling. Second one, but shared computers such as mainframes or mini computers must keep all users happy. Suppose if you are using mini computers, the main purpose of mini computers is shareable resources. We have to share our resources. For that purpose, sometimes we are using internet, or sometimes we are using within the organization intranet also we will use, but the main agenda is the communication must be done and each and every user must be satisfied. And next, users are dedicate systems users of dedicated systems such as workstations have dedicated resources but frequently use shared resources from servers. It is best example of our client server systems. Let us take an example of your mail. Suppose you are having a Gmail account. So if we want to log into our Gmail account, we are going to provide the login credentials, that is username and password. Once you enter the username and password and click on login button, then the request goes to the server machine. The machine where you enter login ID and password, that machine is called as client machine. From the client machine to the server, we are sending the request, and at the server it checks your user ID and password. If both are matched, then the server will forward it to your login page. If anything wrong, then it gives an acknowledgement like your user ID or password is wrong. Next, handheld computers are resource poor. Handheld computers are resource poor, optimized for usability and battery life. Let us take an example of our mobile phones or laptops. When compared to performance of a desktop, laptop performance is ultimately slow. Even though if you take example, if you are using 4 GB RAM laptop and 4 GB RAM desktop, which one is better? 4 GB RAM desktop is better ultimately, because every time handheld devices resource performance is poor and battery life also. Whenever you are going for handheld devices, if you carry your laptop, it will come only 4 hours because the battery life is 4 hours only. For the sake of taking example of system, continuously you are giving power to the system, so that battery life problem will never occur to the personal computer. But while in the case of laptop, the optimized for usability and battery life will comes into the picture. And some computers have little or no user interface, such as embedded computers in devices and automobiles. Sometimes some systems don't have any user interface, or sometimes very little user interface. Well, like take an example of AC in a room. Suppose if we on AC and put 18 degrees as a temperature, then what AC do? The AC will do the operation like the room temperature, maintain the room temperature up to 18 degrees temperature. Once the room temperature comes to 18 degrees, automatically the AC machine stops. Whenever this temperature level increases, then the time automatically the AC machine ons. But the user starts only once. Each and every temperature rises, automatically the AC power on, and the stable temperature will maintain, and at that time the AC automatically power, the machine stops working. Okay. Next, operating system definition. Sometimes operating system acts as resource allocator. Operating system is a resource allocator. It manages all resources and decides between conflicting requests for efficient and fair resource use. Manages all resources. Suppose we are using multi-purpose systems. Our laptop will provide multiple processes run at a time. That is called multi-processing systems. So at that time, if you are using multiple processes, the operating system must control or must use the resource allocations. Each and every process, the operating system must provide resources. If the resources is provided, then only the processes will going to be executed. If the resources are not provided, the process does not execute. So operating system acts as resource allocator for all these processes, because we are using multi-processing systems. If we are using only single processing system, then no need of resource allocation. But we are using multi-processing systems, then we must need resource allocator. So at that time, operating system acts as resource allocator and decides between conflicting requests for efficient and fair resource use. At a time, two people are giving access. So for this, let us take an example of ATM transactions. Suppose in your account you are having only 1000 rupees. You kept your ATM card in the home. Whenever there is home need, the persons in the home must use that one. And you are also login same time. One person went to ATM machine and you are going to be login online banking at the same time and do the transaction of 1000 rupees. That 1000 rupees transaction will be done by you both people. At that time, operating system acts as a control program. Operating system acts as a control program. It controls execution of programs to prevent errors and improper use of the computer. Suppose both the persons are asking same 1000 rupees at a time. The 1000 rupees given to only one person, not two persons. So at that time, operating system stops the transaction. That situation is called as deadlock. It will come in future lessons. For the sake of understanding, I am saying this one. So operating system controls execution of programs to prevent errors and improper use of the computer. No universally accepted definition. There is no single definition. The definition will be changed depending on the situations. So there is no universal accepted definition for operating system. Everything a vendor ships when you order an operating system is good approximation. Everything a vendor ships when you order an operating system is a good approximation, but varies widely. Operating system may vary depending upon the vendors. Let us take the example. Suppose if we are having a laptop, in that laptop some persons having Windows operating system. The vendor for Windows operating system is Microsoft, and some other persons using Linux operating system, Red Hat. Some persons using Red Hat operating system, some persons are using Fedora, and some persons are using DOS operating system. It is also good. So everything a vendor ships when you order an operating system is a good approximation depending upon the users. It may vary from one operating system to one operating system. Let us take in the example of Windows operating system. Every time Windows operating system must be user friendly when compared with Linux operating system. Linux operating system is not user friendly, but when we are going to deal with security, we must go for Linux operating system, because Linux operating system provides more security rather than Windows operating system. Why and how? Because in Linux operating system, each and every operation will do based upon the commands. Suppose if we want to create a folder in Windows operating system, what we will do? Right click on the desktop and right click, and there is one option like new folder. click on that new folder, then new folder will come, and rename new folder with whatever name we need. But in the case of Linux operating system, we have to go for mkdir and chdir commands. By using those commands only, we are going to open a new folder. Nowadays some patches are there, they are also providing these right click options, no problem. But most of the operating systems, most of the Linux operating systems especially, provide command orientation that gives the security to the user. Next, the one program running at all times on the computer is the kernel. Kernel is nothing but the heart of operating system, because the one program running at all times on the computer. Suppose if you are going to use your computer at the time, whenever the CPU ons, at the time onwards the kernel is going to be run the kernel program. Until shutdown, the one program running, that is called kernel, and everything else either a system program or an application program. We already discussed the system program and application program. Once again I will tell you, a system program is nothing but our operating system, and application program is nothing but VLC player, Windows Media Player, and word processors, whatever may be the application, your antivirus, your antiviruses, your game softwares, each and every software you are going to be installed except operating system is called as application programs, and system program is nothing but our operating system. Next one, computer startup. Whenever you are going to press CPU button after power on, then one program is running. That program is nothing but bootstrap program. What this bootstrap program will do, it stores our operating system and it calls the operating system from the hard disk and execute this program and open entire system ready for you. Entire your data is ready for you, hard disk data is ready for you by using operating bootstrap program. So bootstrap program is loaded at power up or reboot, typically stored in ROM, read only memory, or EEPROM, erasable programmable read only memory, generally known as firmware. So where this bootstrap program will load, where this bootstrap program is available, it is available in ROM, read only memory. Whenever we press the CPU button, the read only memory start executing the bootstrap program. It initializes all aspects of systems, loads operating system, kernel, and start execution. Bootstrap program loads operating system, kernel, and starts execution. Once the execution of the program is done, then only we are going to use the operating system or our hard disk files. If we want to use our hard disk files, we must open our system. For the sake of opening system, the bootstrap program loads the operating system, kernel, and start the execution of that bootstrap program. Whenever the bootstrap program execution is over, then your system is ready to use your files, whatever may be the files or whatever may be the application programs. Each and everything will be opened when after bootstrap program execution only. What bootstrap program execution will do? It loads the operating system and kernel and starts the execution of this operating system and ready your system. Computer system organization. See this diagram. In this diagram, from bottom to top, first one is memory. Whenever you on your operating system, whenever you on your computers, or CPU button, press CPU button at that time, from ROM the bootstrap program will going to start your operating system kernel. So they need memory. Where this bootstrap program located? In read-only memory, and it loads the operating system and starts your hard disk. At that time we use RAM, random access memory. From this memory CPU will going to start, and disk controller, our hard disks, A, C, D, E, F drives are there now. Here one important question: whenever you open your system, you click on my computer or you explore my computer, then there are drives like C, D, E, F, G, H. The drive starts from C. What my question is, where A and B? Why the system does not starts with A and B? The answer for this question is, in olden days there is a floppy disk. There is a floppy disk. It is like one storage part. In olden days, the operating system will starts from that A drive or B drive, from floppy drive. So bootstrap program will starts program from read-only memory, that floppy drive. Nowadays the memory size is very much increased, and it is affordable cost. It is be available for affordable cost. So people are removing this AB drives. That's why, see, from our my computer, our hard disk partition will starts from C drive. Next, USB controllers, our input output devices, mouse, keyboard, printer. After that, graphic designer. So once the operating system loaded into memory, then CPU is ready to perform their actions, and disk controller is ready to perform disk controller actions. Mouse, keyboard, printer, or each and everything will be visible in where? Monitor. So all these devices are ready to use. So computer system operation, once one or more CPU device controllers connect through common bus providing access to shared memory. These vertical and horizontal lines are there now. These lines are nothing but bus. What is the purpose of bus controller or bus systems? The purpose of bus, common bus, is the providing communication between one device to another device. Here from memory to USB controller, there is a bus. Concurrent execution of CPUs and devices computing for memory cycles. Concurrent execution, more than one process is going to be executed. That execution is called as concurrent execution. Why this concurrent execution comes into picture? We are using multi-processing systems. So whenever we are using multi-processing systems, at that time we use concurrent execution. Computer system operation. These are the points. Input output devices and the CPU can execute concurrently. Input output devices and the CPU can execute concurrently. Suppose we are going to watch a movie. At that time, open VLC player. From the VLC player, open file and go to the location and open whatever movie you are interested. Select that movie and play. So parallelly CPU is also working. See, our application programs are working. See, watching movie is nothing but where we are going to watch the movie? In the monitor. It is a input device or output device. Monitor is nothing but output device, and speakers output device. We are going to give input from the file location. We have to go and select the file or movie. At the time we need mouse or keyboard. So input output devices and CPU can execute concurrently. Whenever CPU going to stop, at that time we are unable to watch the movie, because if we want to watch the movie, ultimately the CPU also going to be executed. So IO devices and CPU can execute concurrently. Each device control is in charge of particular device type. So each device control, suppose if we want to watch the movie, we need speakers. The device control with that particular device only, and each device controller has a local buffer. Buffer is nothing but cache memory. All these things come in future, no problem. But each and every time in buffer some operation will be going to load. Every time the memory is taken from hard disk, and it will be some part will be stored in buffer, and the device taken memory from buffer. After that the hard disk shared memory to buffer, and a buffer will give memory to device controller. Next, CPU moves data from R2 main memory to or from local buffers. Whatever I am saying earlier, this one. CPU moves data from main memory, R2 main memory, and it is the memory going to be placed in where? Local buffers. Next one, IO is from the device to local buffer or controller. Input output is from the device to local buffer of controller. Next, device controller informs CPU that it has finished its operation by causing an interrupt. What is an interrupt? Each and every time if we want to use operating system must execute some system calls. What is a system call? Suppose we want to start Windows Word document. At that time we are going to click on Windows MS Office. In that MS Office we are selecting Windows Word or Microsoft Word. If you are selecting, then that program is going to be load. That is nothing but system call. So our operating system send a request to Windows, that is nothing but application program. That application program is going to be start. So the interrupt is nothing but the system call which is of software type, or software system calls are nothing but interrupts. It will come in future, don't worry about this. Common functions of interrupt. Interrupt transfers control to the interrupt service routine generally through the interrupt vector, which contains the addresses of all the service routines. Interrupt architecture must save the address of the interrupted instruction. A trap or execution is a software generated interrupt. See, a trap or exception is a software generated interrupt caused either by an error or a user request. Before going to this one, first of all, what is the difference between software and hardware? What is the difference between software and hardware? The difference is software is used for general purpose. Software is used for general purpose. That is, we are going to develop any software for any cause. Suppose if we want to play any games, we develop games using software. If our system is having virus, then we have developed antivirus software. Anything is possible for software, but hardware is used for only general purpose. General purpose means printer is only used for printing, but if we want to play any song, the output comes from speaker only. The speaker is designed for playing songs only or playing sounds, but printer is developed only for the sake of printing. We are unable to listen songs from the printer, and we are unable to take printout from the speaker. So these hardwares are used for only specific purpose. The difference between software and hardware is software is for general purpose and hardware is specific purpose. Here, a trap or exception is a software generated interrupt caused either by an error or a user request. So exception is caused from the user sometimes, or sometimes an error. An operating system is interrupt driven. Sometimes operating system also interrupted the application programs. For example, suppose if we want to play a game, you are already playing one chess game, suppose. Meanwhile, operating system receives a request from the kernel. At that time, operating system stops playing the game and given priority to the kernel, because kernel request is higher priority than other application programs. Whatever may be the application program is running, if the request from the kernel came, then the operating system stops application programs and start this kernel request, execute this kernel request. So operating system is interrupt driven. Next, interrupt handling. The operating system preserves the state of the CPU by storing registers and the program counter. Registers, small memory locations are nothing but registers. For storing for storing any type of variables or any data in the register, we need some assembly language like Turbo Assembler. By using TASM software, we use to store memory in the registers. Program counter is nothing but step by step count will be increases whenever, suppose we are doing we are going to run a program, line by line execution will be there. So if our program is having suppose 100 lines or 200 lines, one by one we are going to be executed. At that time, first line it is executed, then program counter increases, second line executed, and program count increases. Like that, program counter will works. It determines which type of interrupt has occurred. Two types, polling interrupt and vectored interrupt in the system. Two types of interrupts are there. These interrupts concepts will come in future, don't worry about this. I will discuss in the another units. For the sake of just understandability, interrupt is nothing but interrupting one process or stop one process and execute another process. If we are using multiple processing systems, suppose there are several types of processes are going to be executed or executing. At that time, we are stopping one process and execute another process. That is nothing but interrupt. For understandability, please take this interrupt like this only up to now. I will discuss in future where comes in. This is interrupt timeline. In this interrupt timeline, different operations are there. CPU operations, IO devices, IO request transfer done, IO request transfer done. It is a cyclic process. We will discuss in future, no problem. Next, IO structure. After IO starts, control returns to the user program only upon IO completion. After IO starts, control returns to user program only upon IO completion. Wait instruction idles the CPU until the next interrupt. Suppose the CPU interrupting one file, so up to that interrupt complete, wait our instructions or wait the instruction idles. So instruction is going to be ideal until the next interrupt will come. Wait loop, contention for memory access. Suppose so many instructions are coming into picture, then one by one each and every instruction is going to be loop. In the loop, first instruction will be going to be executed, next second, next third, next fourth, like that. wait loop. At most one IO request is outstanding at a time, no simultaneous IO processing. Operating system, at most one request is placed in the outstanding time. Remaining all the no simultaneous IO processing. So remaining all instructions must be stopped. Only at a time one IO request is outstanding at a time. After IO starts, control returns to the user program without waiting for IO completion. Next, system call. System call is nothing but it is a request to the operating system to allow user to wait for IO completion. To allow user to wait for IO completion. Suppose one program is going to be executed, our operating system is going to tell or allow the user to wait for IO completion. Once the IO is completed, then user request will be going to picture. Next, device status table. It contains entry for each IO device indicating its type, address and state. Each and every instruction is going to be placed in device status table. In this device status table, there will the each and every instruction status will be available, and its address also there, and it is in which state. It is in executing state, or it is in waiting state, or it is in terminated state. Different types of process states are there. These each and every state will be available in device status table only. OS indexes into IO devices table to determine device status and to modify table entry to include interrupt. From up to now, here I am going to stop. We will discuss remaining things tomorrow. Thank you one and all.